Are you tired of looking in the mirror and not being proud of the body that you see? You want to change, but you have no idea of where to start. Then this video is for you. I used to look like this. I had no confidence. I was insecure and I got like no attention from girls. Since that time, I have managed to transform my body into looking like this. And I have so much more confidence and I actually get attention from girls. If you keep watching, I'm going to share exactly how I did it step by step. So you can just learn from my mistakes and get so much faster results. Step number 1, find your reason why. For as long as I can remember, I was always this fat and insecure kid. And most of the time when I was with my friends, I was the biggest person in the group, so it made me get so much unwanted attention. Whenever I was outside, I always felt like, people were staring at me, and I started to develop this social anxiety where, as a way for me to cope, I started to wear bigger and bigger clothes just to cover up my body. Things like working out, they had always been in the back of my mind because deep down, I actually wanted to look better. I was so tired of being this person who was fat, shy, and just introverted like all the time. But I just never took any action. It wasn't until I found my reason why that everything completely changed for me. The reason why you want to change in the first place. At first, I thought to myself that I just wanted to look good for the sake of looking good. When I really took some time to deeply think about it, I realized my reasons why. I wanted to have more confidence. I wanted to get more attention from girls. I wanted to be happy with the way that I looked. And improving my body was gonna help me with that. If you want my help to build a body that gets you those things that I just mentioned, more confidence and more attention, then just DM me on Instagram. I'll put my username on the screen right here, but also in the description. Before we start working on our body, we need to work on our mind. So find your reason why. Take some time to really think to yourself, why do I want to change in the first place? And the deeper reason, the better. Maybe you got bullied when you were younger, or people made fun of the way that you looked. If it hurts to think about, you are on the right track. Why this is so important is because that's what's going to keep us motivated. If we don't have a strong reason why to begin with, then we are just going to quit and we won't stay consistent. And there's a quote that I really like about this. He who has a why, he can bear anyhow. If you have a reason that is strong enough, you will get the work done no matter what it takes because you want it that bad. And something that I noticed that helped me with this is to write it down on a piece of paper or, the notes on my phone. Because by doing it this way, I get reminded of it on a daily basis. And trust me when I say this will light a fire inside of you. So you just want to get to work like immediately. Step number 2, the diet. This completely depends on your starting point. But for me personally, I was a bit too fat, right? So I decided to cut. But let's say if you're on the other side and you're too skinny and you want to build more muscle, then you decide to bulk. You probably heard these words a lot of times in fitness before, cutting and bulking, but you maybe never understood what it really means. Cutting, you eat a little bit less and you move your body more. And why we do this is to lose fat, but also lose weight. And on the other side, we have bulking. You eat a bit more and move your body less. This is to promote weight gain, but also muscle building. You can do both, which is also called recomp, but the progress will be so much slower. So from my personal experience, I just recommend you to stick with cutting and bulking because the progress will be so much faster. So how do you know which one to do? Just think to yourself, do you want to lose fat right now or do you want to gain muscle? And when you made a decision, that's when we adjust the diet accordingly, and I will explain more about this. After you have made a decision of losing fat or gaining muscle, then the next thing you need to do is to start weighing yourself every single morning after you've gone to the bathroom. And why we do this is to keep track of our progress. What I personally do, I just write down the weight in the notes on my phone, and next to that I have the date. This is such an easy way to track this, and it just takes a couple of seconds. When it comes to the food itself, it's not rocket science when you think about it. Start cutting out junk food and sugar as much as possible in your diet. And this was one of the biggest reasons why I didn't see progress for months, because I just kept eating this trash over and over and over. What I personally did, and I recommend you to do as well, focus on whole foods as much as possible. This is basically foods with one single ingredient, like rice, chicken, meat, fish, potatoes, and so on. It's not these weird processed foods with like 10,000 different ingredients in them. Be honest with yourself. When you look at the ingredient list on these foods, you can't even pronounce like half of the things in there. So of course, this is not going to be healthy for you. The most important thing to think about is to eat the foods that you actually enjoy. You know, it's so much easier to stay consistent if you do it this way. It doesn't have to be this boring chicken, broccoli, and rice every single day. You know, look up healthy recipes with the ingredients that you like to eat and just try them for yourself. Another thing that people really struggle with is having cravings, right? And what I noticed that really helped me with this is to drink more water. Whenever I have cravings, I drink a big glass of water. And if the cravings are still there, I'm just being smart with it and going for a healthier option. You know, have some fruit, or my personal favorite, I take some Greek yogurt and just drizzle a little bit of honey on top, and that usually does it for my sweet tooth. Once you have improved your diet, and you know, depending on the decision that you made between losing fat and gaining muscle, if you want to lose fat, do more cardio. If you want to gain muscle, do less cardio. What I mean specifically with cardio is low intensity. You know, I personally wanted to lose fat, right? So I decided to do more cardio. And what I mean with more cardio, I mean basically just more walking. I personally started with 20 minutes every single day. Now, going for walks when you want to gain weight and build muscle, that is fine as well, but don't overdo it. You know, the more calories that you burn throughout the day, the more food that you need to eat. So how do we know if we're making progress? You know, I mentioned that we weigh ourselves every single morning after the bathroom. If you want to lose fat and lose weight, I personally would aim for 0.5 kg to 1 kg lost per week, or 1 to 2 pounds. Or if you want to gain weight and gain muscle, you gain 0.5 kg or 1 kg a week, or 1 to 2 pounds. And how you track this is just by writing the weight down on your phone, like I mentioned earlier. You write the date and then you have the weight next to it. Now after this, we do the same amount every single day. If you want to keep losing fat, we eat a little bit less and we move our body more. If you want to gain weight and gain muscle, we eat a bit more and move our body less. But eventually, your weight will plateau. So how do we fix this? For example, if you want to keep losing fat, then you have to increase the amount of cardio you do. Let's say you walk for 15 minutes every single day and the scale is not moving. Increase the amount of walking to maybe 20 or 25 minutes a day. And the same thing goes if you want to gain weight. You eat the amount of food and you're not moving the scale, and you have to increase the food that you eat until you see that the weight is moving again. Now, if you combine a good diet with the next thing that I'm going to talk about, we will get the best results possible. Step number 3, the training. Adding the training on top of a good diet, that will give you the fastest results possible. And what I mean specifically with training is resistance training. Now, this can basically be bodyweight exercise at home or, going to the gym. We need a way for us to put our muscles under the stress. Otherwise, they won't grow. And for me personally, I much prefer going to the gym. If you've never gone to the gym before, I recommend you to start with 3 days a week. And this is just to build consistency of going to the gym, because we can always increase the amount later. If you do too much at the start, you are just gonna quit anyway, so it's wasted time. And the routine that I recommend to start with is push, pull, legs. However, if you go to the gym consistently right now and you have some experience, then I recommend you to do 5 days a week. I personally follow what's called the Arnold split. I'll put a picture on the screen right here so you see what it looks like. There are 2 very important things that you have to follow no matter what kind of training you do. If you don't follow these, you will end up hurting yourself and stop making progress. Number 1, good form is everything. If you want to have good and fast progress at the same time, then focus on learning the exercises properly. Really develop your mind-muscle connection. When you do an exercise that is supposed to be targeting biceps, then you just really focus on actually feeling it in your biceps. And if you learn to do this properly, you will make so much faster progress and you will build so much more muscle than you think. Now, here's another thing. No one gives a shit about you ego lifting. Lifting heavy weights with terrible form. You think that people actually are impressed around you, but in reality, they look at you because you look like an idiot. It's so much better for your mind and your body to focus on good form before you start adding weight. If you have good form, then you don't even have to lift as heavy as you think to actually build the muscle. But on the other side, if you have bad form and lift heavy weight, you're only gonna injure yourself. And if you injure yourself, you're gonna slow down your progress. Just think about this. What's the point of lifting this heavy weight with terrible form and you can't even feel it in the muscles you're supposed to feel it in? You're gonna hurt yourself. Take months and months off the gym. You're gonna have to put your transformation on hold only because you had a big ego And that's just a complete waste of time. The second important thing is progressive overload. This is basically a fancy word for doing more than the last time. And this is so important when it comes to making progress, because for me personally, I didn't make progress for months at a time because I kept doing the same weights and the same reps over and over and over. The easiest way to do this is by increasing the reps or increasing the weight. And I personally recommend to first increase the reps. The rule of thumb that I follow is that if I can do 12 reps with good form on a specific weight, then I need to go heavy. So how do we track this? We write it down in the phone the same way we did with our weight. I write down the exercise name. Next to that, I have the sets and the reps. And next to that, I have the weight. I'll put a picture on the screen right here so you see what I'm talking about. Because if we don't do this, we don't know if we're actually making progress. Focus on these two things when it comes to training: good form and progressive overload. And I promise you will get great results just from that. It doesn't really matter what kind of routine that you follow, as long as you're just consistent with one of them. Step number 4, the mindset. I'm going to keep this straight to the point and concise. We want to have the mindset of longevity. You want to look good and be healthy for as long as possible, right? And how we do this for as long as possible is by making it enjoyable for ourselves. And the advice that I can give you, turn it into a lifestyle, and it will be so much easier for you to stay consistent. This is pretty obvious when you think about it. If you don't enjoy what you're doing, you're not going to be consistent. If you're not consistent, you're not going to get the results that you want. When you turn it into a lifestyle, you don't feel the need to rush the process. You focus on doing the right things on a day-to-day basis. And before you know it, a couple of months has passed and you will look so much better than you did before. Here's the thing. Don't expect yourself to be perfect from the start. Slowly remove the bad habits and foods out of your life and start adding the good ones. Be patient with getting the results. Be impatient with taking action, and everything else will follow, I promise you. If you want to transform your body in just 90 days, where you get more confidence and more attention, then just DM me on Instagram. I'll put my username on the screen right here, but also in the description. If you found this video helpful, then why not press subscribe? And thanks for watching.